May tuso po ba kayong nakikita sa government officials like sa mga gabinete? Sa totoo lang po, wala. Mababait po yung ating cabinet. I have gotten to know many of them. May polisiya kasi ang Pangulo na dumadaan ng mga press releases through OPS at tinutulungan lahat ng mga cabinet secretaries sa kanilang pagdi-disseminate ng impormasyon. So in the process, marami po kaming nakikilala na kakausap at nakakatrabaho sa mga cabinet secretaries, and to a man, all of them, I consider them all good people.
What is up mga kabayan? Narito na naman tayo para pag-usapan ang mga viral at napapanahong mga balita sa loob at labas ng social media. Kung bago ka pa lang sa channel na ito, ay huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe at i-click ang notification bell para updated kayo palagi sa mga latest video upload natin.
So, among other things, yes, today I was reinstated dito sa Luminous. Meaning, pwede na ako po uli mag-live. Pangalawa, I would just like to remind everybody na dito sa Luminous, we have several people who can post. So, andyan si Ira, si Adrian, si JP, si Ahmed, and myself. So, kapag nagpo-post kami, nilalagay namin yung mga pangalan namin. Ako rin, maglalagay na rin po ng pangalan para akuin namin kung ano yung sinasabi namin. Kasi ang nangyayari, yung ibang mga komentarista na gustong-gusto nila na magkaroon ng content based on something we said or did not say, blame nila ang isa't isa for something that neither of us had said or somebody else said, pero idinidirect nila sa ibang tao. So let me just make it clear right now. We are responsible for our own posts. Kung ako nagsabi, ako yon i-state ninyo, ako yung mababatikos. Pag iba yung nagsulat, di sana that person can either have all the praise or all the blame or all the criticism. In some instances naman kasi, we all agree on a certain topic. So, it won't be, it's okay. Kumbaga, we'll defend each other. Pero sometimes, hindi rin kami nagkakapare-pareho ng pananaw, kaya kailangan akuin ng isa't isa ang kanilang mga salita. At yung third parties, yung mga gusto gumawa ng content base dun sa mga sinasabi namin, o edi sige, pero give credit or blame where credit is due. So, in furtherance, dun sa ating pagtutulong sa administrasyon, tinatandaan po natin ang Economic Transformation Program ng ating Pangulo. Sa Economic Transformation, hinihikayat niya ang mga tao na, among other things, na tangkilikin ang sariling atin, ang Filipino-made products, Filipino services, and so on. Naghihikayat siya ng investment dito sa Pilipinas at yun nga, paano kung tayo ay makakatulong pa in other ways? Well, one of them is yung local tourism. Bahagi po yan ng pagbubuhay ng ating ekonomiya, pagtatransform nito. We help Filipino businesses, we help restart the economy and eventually not just recover but to transform the economy and hopefully go beyond pre-pandemic levels. So, ginagawa namin is tinitignan namin yung ibang mga lugar na maaari natin puntahan for rest, relaxation, tourism purposes, or even investment. So kanina, dumaan na naman kami sa Pililla and then we went all the way up to Real Quezon and looking around for other places. Ini-encourage po namin lahat ng tao na for weekend activities to do the same. Hindi yung nilang yung mga regular places, kumbaga marami po tayong mga choices. And other small businesses related to tourism, maaari natin silang tulungan by the simple fact of going there for our own rest, relaxation, and discoveries, di ba? In furtherance of that, so we also start to study dun sa yung mga places na pinupuntahan natin. So, hindi pa natin masyadong Today was kind of like a cold call. Kumbaga, kung pinuntahan namin yung mga lugar not knowing anything about it, it was just a ride, a discovery ride, kumbaga. And the more often that we do this, then the more familiar we will be with the places to go to, and among other things, the things that we can buy. So, natuwa ako dun sa ibang mga furniture that's being sold on the roadside. Pero we had to take some time para magserbisyo sa gobyerno. Pasintabi lang po, I cannot and I will not talk about controversial matters pertaining to my service in government because I don't think it will help. What I just want to do is to go back to what we have always been doing and trying to help the country and disseminating information in the best way that we can. I'm not saying that I won't make mistakes, as since we all do. But sometimes there are human failings, even in the things that we know. But what we can promise is that now that we're back, so that whatever it is we will impart to you, if we make mistakes, we will admit those mistakes and correct them. So, hindi tayo yung magmamatigas, nahuli na ang mali, magmamatigas pa. And the other thing that we also want to advocate is for people to be able to do that. Napansin nyo ba, and this is one of our topics today, napansin nyo ba, na kapag kunwari, and this has happened to me several times, pagka nagkamali ako, tapos may mag-criticize, I will say, oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I made a mistake here, the correct answer is ganito. Instead of saying good na lumabas na yung totoo, babatikusin ka pa, i-criticize at ibabash. Let's normalize people admitting mistakes and apologizing for them. That way, we don't dig in. We don't make people dig in out of pride. Pagka nagkamali, say that we made a mistake or say that, well, maybe we made a mistake on this part, but this part still is correct. Kailangan yung para freeing discussion. We learn from our mistakes and we are human. Nobody is expected to be perfect all the time. But that we should show good effort to be correct, and if making mistakes, then admit them and correct those mistakes. I-normalize po natin yan, especially here on social media. And that way, fake news isn't going to be such a big problem. Kasi sometimes, pag nagsasalita tayo, kunwari may live, o kaya meron tayong post, base yun dun sa impormasyon that we know at the time. And sometimes, that information is either disproven or will sometimes, or alters later on. So, for example, we talk about an attempted hostage taking. When information comes out, sometimes we will issue commentary on that or explain some of the factual information. Later on, may lalabas, updated na, meron ng mali dun sa sinabi natin. So, let's normalize adapting to that. Oh, kanina our information was this. Now that we have been corrected, we apologize, or if it wasn't really our fault, we will just simply correct it. This way, it doesn't become a hit or miss, an all or nothing approach. Yung ginagawa natin ganito is part of what we call a national conversation. Nag-uusap-usap tayo tungkol sa gobyerno because we are participating in government. We are participating through giving our opinions because we have a say in how our country is run. It's not direct kasi ang say natin usually is limited by through elections. We elect the people who make decisions, and normally we trust them to make those decisions. But since those people are never going to be perfect, and when they make mistakes, it is up to us, it is our duty as citizens to call that out. It shouldn't be, that's why we want to normalize people admitting mistakes, even government officials admitting mistakes and correcting them, kasi hindi people don't dig into that mistake. Huwag na nating i-bash pag may nagkamali. Pag kinorek nila, dapat nga pinupuri natin, and that's regardless of political position. Alam niyo ba, there's a rule in government that if you, for example, have served in a particular office, let's say a lawyer ka for a particular office, you are barred from dealing with that office in a professional capacity for 2 years after you leave it. So, kumbaga, yun ang magiging rule of thumb ko for the moment to not talk about or deal with OPS because dun po ako nagserbisyo. May tuso po ba kayo nakikita sa government officials like sa mga gabinete? Sa totoo lang po, wala. Mababait po yung ating cabinet. I have gotten to know many of them. May polisiya kasi ang Pangulo na dumadaan ng mga press releases to OPS at tinutulungan lahat ng mga cabinet secretaries sa kanilang pagdi-disseminate ng impormasyon. So in the process, marami po kaming nakikilala na kakausap at nakakatrabaho sa mga cabinet secretaries, and to a man, all of them, I consider them all good people. So wala po akong nakikita doon na tuso or kumbaga na hindi bagay sa posisyon. So right now, kumbaga, they will be judged naman later on by you, the voting public, or the public, based on their achievements or their mistakes, if ever. So, my opinion on that doesn't count kasi they have all been very good to me. Any comments sa BBM vloggers na nagpaparinigan? I think that I consider all of them as friends. And it wouldn't be a good idea to take sides. Like with anything, the freedom of speech is something that we should accept. Even the criticism of each other is part of that freedom of speech unless tumatawid na po siya sa libel. Gayon pa man, I understand that people are upset over some of the negativity online. I think that we should just be really patient. Eventually, these things will be settled. But even if they're not, kumbaga, we're all adults here. We can accept each other's failings and we can accept each other's successes as well. Lang po, I think that especially yung sina Coach Jarrett and sina Janjan, all of them, I got to know them as well kasi when we were campaigning, minsan magkakasama po kami. And they're also very, alam niyo, they're very, I'm very, buti ko nang sabihin unselfless. They're very generous people, very active and extremely funny. They have an excellent sense of humor. So, I can't say anything beyond that. I have only good things to say about all of them. Hindi po kailangan, I mean, just because may nag-aaway, doesn't mean na kailangan sumali tayo, di ba? Ito, sabi ni Ma'am Daisy, please comment sa helicopter issue ni VP Sara. Well, she's entitled to the use of government services and government property, particularly since the president authorized her to do that. And that's the only issue that needs to be discussed on that one. Pwede ba o hindi siya pwede? Pwede. O end of story.